The sleek corridors of the Galactic Assessment Center hummed with nervous energy. Lead researcher James Miller stared at his holographic display, checking and rechecking the numbers. Something was wrong, or perhaps terrifyingly right. "This can't be accurate," he muttered, adjusting his glasses. The data streams showed Earth's environmental readings over the past century, and the trend lines were impossible. No civilization should be able to survive, let alone thrive, under such rapidly changing conditions. The assessment center's AI compiled the latest data: increased atmospheric toxins, rising radiation levels, extreme weather patterns, and a shocking variety of apex predators that seemed to be evolving faster than ever. Yet human population centers continued to grow, and their technology advanced at an alarming rate. Miller's assistant, Tom, rushed into the room, clutching a datapad. "Sir, you need to see this. The humans, they're drinking poison for enjoyment." "What do you mean?" Miller turned to face his young colleague. "They call it coffee, sir. It's a neurotoxin they consume daily. Some take multiple doses. And that's not all. They intentionally eat capsaicin, another toxin, for pleasure." Miller's 3 hearts skipped a beat. He had been studying Earth for 20 cycles, but every new discovery left him more astounded. The original classification of Earth as a Class 20 Deathworld had seemed appropriate when they first discovered the planet. But now, he pulled up the planetary classification matrix. The numbers didn't lie. Earth had somehow become even more dangerous, yet its dominant species had adapted at an impossible rate. The matrix pulsed with a new reading: Class 14. "Alert the Council," Miller ordered, his voice grave. "Earth's classification needs immediate revision." The news spread through the assessment center like wildfire. A planet's Deathworld rating rarely changed by more than 1 or 2 points in a millennium. Earth had jumped 6 levels in less than a century. In the main conference chamber, the council gathered. Representatives from the galaxy's most advanced civilizations watched in horror as Miller presented his findings. "The humans have not only survived these changes," Miller explained, displaying images of Earth's bustling cities. "They've turned them to their advantage. They harness radiation for medicine, turn toxins into fuel, and their children play with creatures that would kill any of our species instantly." The council members murmured in disbelief. One of them, a crystalline being named First Light, raised an appendage. "What of their military capabilities?" Miller switched to a new display. "That's the most concerning part. They've developed weapons based on their harsh environment. Their soldiers train in conditions that would kill most species. They've turned their planet's deadliness into a forge for creating warriors." The evidence was undeniable. Humans regularly survived conditions that would be fatal to 99% of known intelligent species. They exposed themselves to extreme temperatures for recreation, deliberately consumed dangerous substances for enjoyment, and treated deadly planetary conditions as mere inconveniences. "We need to revise our first contact protocols," another council member suggested, their bioluminescent patterns showing clear distress. "These humans, they're not just survivors. They're apex predators of the highest order." Miller nodded, bringing up one final image: a human child petting a massive canine, an animal whose bite force could crush bones. "They turn killers into companions," he said. "They see opportunities where we see only death. And now, they're looking to the stars." The council chamber fell silent. The implications were clear. Humanity wasn't just surviving on a death world. They were mastering it. And soon, they would reach for the stars, bringing with them capabilities and resilience that the galaxy had never seen before. "Alert all observation posts," the council chief ordered. "Classification: extreme caution. Earth is now officially a Class 14 death world, and its inhabitants are to be considered exceptional." As the council dispersed, Miller returned to his office, wondering what other surprises Earth would reveal. One thing was certain: The galaxy would never be the same once humanity joined the galactic community. The morning started like any other at Earth's Orbital Defense Command. Captain Lisa Stone sipped her coffee while monitoring the deep space radar arrays. 20 years of watching empty screens had made most operators complacent, but not Lisa. Something felt different today. "Captain, we're picking up unusual energy signatures," reported Jack, her radar specialist. His fingers flew across the holographic controls as he tried to focus on the anomaly. "They're small, about the size of satellites, but they're moving." Lisa leaned forward, her coffee forgotten. The objects were indeed moving, but not in any natural orbital pattern. They were carefully repositioning themselves, almost as if they were trying to avoid detection. "How long have they been there?" she asked, her military training kicking in. "That's the thing, Captain," Jack replied, his voice tense. "According to the signature analysis, some of these have been in orbit for decades. We just never noticed them before." Lisa immediately initiated contact with other global defense stations. Within hours, reports started flooding in from around the world. Hidden observation devices had been discovered in orbit, using technology far beyond Earth's current capabilities. In Washington, the Joint Chiefs gathered for an emergency meeting. The revelation that Earth had been under alien surveillance wasn't just shocking, it was potentially terrifying. General Roberts stood at the head of the table, pointing to the latest satellite imagery. "These devices are pulling out," he announced, his voice grave. "All of them, simultaneously. After decades of watching us, something made them decide to leave in a hurry." At NASA's primary research facility, Dr. Alan West examined one of the few alien devices they'd managed to capture before it self-destructed. The technology was incredible, but what caught his attention were the radiation readings. These machines were designed to withstand extreme conditions, he explained to the assembled scientists. But according to our analysis, Earth's environment has become too harsh even for them. Meanwhile, in orbit, Lisa and her team tracked the mass exodus of alien technology. The devices weren't just leaving, they were running. Several of them malfunctioned during their hasty departure, overcome by Earth's increasingly hostile magnetosphere. "They're afraid of us," Jack realized, watching another cluster of devices flee. "They've been studying us all this time, and something made them panic." The discovery of alien monitoring equipment sparked a global response. Military bases worldwide went on high alert. Scientists worked around the clock to understand the alien technology. But it was a junior analyst at the Pentagon who made the most crucial connection. "Look at the timing," he pointed out to his superiors. "The devices started pulling out exactly when Earth's environmental conditions reached Class 14 levels. They're not just afraid of us. They're afraid of what we've become." Lisa stood at her command post, watching the last of the alien devices vanish into deep space. Earth's atmosphere, once considered relatively mild by human standards, had become so extreme that even advanced alien technology couldn't handle it. And humans hadn't just survived, they'd thrived. "Send a message to command," she ordered. "Tell them Operation Stargazer needs to be accelerated. If they've been watching us, we need to be ready to watch back." In the following days, governments worldwide began sharing information about previous unexplained phenomena. Strange lights in the sky, mysterious signals, and technological anomalies all pointed to a long-term alien observation program. "They thought we were too primitive to notice them," Dr. West concluded in his report to the UN Security Council. "But our technology advanced faster than they expected, and our world became too hostile for their equipment. We've outgrown their containment strategy." As Earth's military forces mobilized and scientists worked to reverse engineer what little alien technology they'd recovered, one thing became clear: humanity was no longer just being watched. They were being feared. In her orbital command center, Lisa looked out at the stars, wondering what other secrets lay hidden in the vast darkness. Earth was changing, becoming more dangerous by the day, and its people were changing with it. The aliens' hasty retreat had revealed an important truth. Humanity wasn't just surviving on a Class 14 death world. They were becoming something the galaxy had never seen before. Ambassador Robert Thompson had faced many challenges in his diplomatic career, but nothing could have prepared him for this moment. Standing before the Galactic Council, he tried to maintain his composure while dozens of alien species stared at him with a mixture of fear and fascination. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council was designed to accommodate beings from thousands of worlds. The air was carefully filtered, the temperature precisely controlled, and protective barriers separated species that couldn't survive in the same environment. Yet Robert stood there, breathing normally, while nearby aliens required complex environmental suits just to exist in the same room. "You mean to tell us," the council leader spoke through a universal translator, "that humans regularly expose themselves to temperatures ranging from freezing to near boiling for recreation?" Robert nodded, pulling up images of beaches and ski resorts on his presentation screen. "Yes, we call it vacation. Some of us climb mountains where the air is too thin to breathe, while others dive deep into oceans under crushing pressure. We find it relaxing." A wave of nervous murmuring swept through the chamber. Several council members activated additional protective shields around their pods. "And this substance," another council member pointed to Robert's coffee cup, "you willingly consume this neurotoxin." "Multiple times a day," Robert replied, taking a deliberate sip. "Some of us can't start our mornings without it. We also enjoy something called spicy food, plants that evolved chemical defenses that create a burning sensation." The translator struggled to convey the collective gasp of horror from the assembled aliens. One representative, a being composed mainly of floating gas, had to excuse itself from the chamber. "But surely," the council leader pressed, "your world wasn't always this hostile. Our records show Earth was once a Class 20 death world, dangerous but manageable." Robert displayed charts showing Earth's environmental changes. "Our world has become more extreme, yes. Higher radiation levels, stronger storms, more aggressive wildlife. But we've adapted. In fact, many humans prefer these challenging conditions." He showed them footage of extreme sports, humans jumping from cliffs, racing through storms, and fighting in combat sports. The council's medical team immediately requested permission to study human physiology, unable to comprehend how any species could voluntarily engage in such activities. "What about your children?" a concerned representative asked. "Surely you protect them from these dangers." Robert smiled, showing pictures of playground equipment. "We let them fall down and get back up. It makes them stronger. Our medical technology has advanced to handle almost any injury." The council leader's color changed to a deep shade of worry. "And your military capabilities?" "We prefer peace," Robert assured them, "but we're prepared for any situation. Our soldiers train in conditions that would kill most species. They carry enough firepower to level small cities, and that's just our standard infantry." The chamber fell silent. The implications were clear. Humanity hadn't just survived on a Class 14 death world. They had weaponized their adaptation to it. "We seek peaceful relations," Robert continued, sensing the tension. "We want to trade, share knowledge, and join the galactic community. But we also want to be clear about our capabilities in nature." The council leader conferred quietly with other members before speaking again. "Ambassador Thompson, your species presents us with an unprecedented situation. Never have we encountered beings who not only survive, but actively thrive in conditions that should be lethal." Robert stood straighter, knowing this was the crucial moment. "We come in peace, but we come as equals." Earth's classification as a Class 14 death world isn't just a warning. It's a testament to human resilience. As the session concluded, Robert could hear the worried discussions breaking out among the council members. He had achieved his goal. The galaxy now understood that humanity wasn't just another spacefaring race. They were Deathworlders, apex survivors, and now they were ready to take their place among the stars. Walking back to his quarters, Robert smiled as he finished his coffee. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity was just getting started. The Galactic Senate's emergency session was in its third day, and the debate about Earth's classification showed no signs of slowing down. The massive chamber, designed to hold representatives from over 10,000 civilizations, buzzed with nervous energy. Chief Statistician Peter Wells stood at the central podium, presenting his findings to the assembled representatives. His data streams painted a picture that many found difficult to accept. "The evidence is undeniable," Peter explained, his voice steady despite the gravity of his words. "Not only have humans survived the increasing harshness of their world, but they've actually accelerated their technological development because of it." The holographic displays showed Earth's technological progression alongside its environmental changes. Where other species would have collapsed or regressed, humanity had used each new challenge as a stepping stone. "Impossible," shouted a representative from a low-gravity world. "No species advances while their planet becomes more hostile. It defies all known patterns of civilization." Peter pulled up new data. Humans have turned their adversities into advantages. When radiation levels rose, they developed better shielding technology. When storms grew stronger, they built more resilient cities. When their wildlife became more dangerous, they improved their combat capabilities. The Senate's Scientific Council, led by Dr. Anna Wright, presented their analysis next. "We've confirmed that Earth's current conditions would be lethal to 99.9% of all known intelligent species. The fact that humans consider these conditions challenging but manageable is unprecedented." The military implications caused the most concern. Admiral James Cooper, Earth's military liaison, stood calmly as he described human combat capabilities to an increasingly worried audience. "Our standard troops train in conditions that would kill most species instantly," he explained. "Our weapons are designed to function in environments that would destroy most advanced technology. And this is just our conventional military." The Senate's Security Council immediately called for new defensive protocols. The idea that humans could potentially fight in environments that would kill their enemies through exposure alone was terrifying. "We need to reclassify Earth immediately," the Senate's Classification Board announced. "Moving them from Class 20 to Class 14 isn't just a statistical change. It's a fundamental shift in how we must approach human civilization." One brave senator asked the question everyone feared: what if Earth becomes even more hostile? What will humans become then? The chamber fell silent. The implications were staggering. If humans were already thriving in Class 14 conditions, what would they evolve into if their world continued to change? Dr. Wright took the podium again, her face grave. "We've analyzed their adaptation rate. Humans don't just survive environmental changes. They actively seek out challenges. They intentionally expose themselves to harsh conditions to become stronger." She showed footage of human training exercises, extreme sports, and survival competitions. The Senate watched in horror as humans voluntarily subjected themselves to conditions that would be considered torture on most worlds. "Their response to adversity is unique," Peter added. "Where other species retreat from danger, humans face it head-on. They've turned their entire planet into a training ground." The Classification Board's final decision was unanimous. Earth would be officially ranked as a Class 14 Deathworld, but with a special notation: inhabited by a species demonstrating unprecedented adaptive capabilities and resistance to environmental extremes. As the session concluded, Admiral Cooper overheard two alien representatives discussing the proceedings. "They don't even realize how terrifying they are," one whispered. "They treat deadly conditions like minor inconveniences. And now they're looking to expand into space," the other replied. "What will stop them? What could stop them?" The answer was clear to everyone in the Senate. Very little could stop humanity now. They had not only mastered their deadly world, they had turned its very deadliness into their greatest strength. As the Senate dispersed, new protocols were already being implemented across the galaxy. Earth's classification wasn't just a warning anymore. It was a recognition that humanity had become something the universe had never seen before. a species that grew stronger in conditions that should have destroyed them. The galaxy would need to adapt because humanity certainly wasn't going to stop. General Mark Anderson stood in the Joint Military Training Facility, watching as human soldiers effortlessly moved through conditions that had alien observers trapped behind thick protective barriers. The demonstration was meant to showcase Earth's military capabilities, but it had turned into something far more dramatic. As you can see, Mark explained to the alien military delegation, our troops maintain full combat effectiveness in environments ranging from Arctic to desert conditions, with minimal protective gear. A soldier demonstrated by switching from a cryogenic chamber to a heat stress chamber within minutes, maintaining perfect accuracy with their weapon systems throughout. The alien observer's biosigns showed clear distress just watching the display. Impossible, muttered the lead alien military advisor, checking his readings again. Their bodies should be shutting down from the temperature shifts alone. Mark smiled. This is basic training for our forces. We haven't even shown you the advanced capabilities yet. The next demonstration involved troops operating in high radiation zones while carrying heavy combat loads. The aliens watched in shock as humans moved through areas that would kill most species within seconds. Your weapons, one alien observer noted, they're designed to function in these conditions. All our equipment is built to exceed human survivability parameters, Mark confirmed, which, as you've seen, are already far beyond galactic standards. In the facility's command center, Colonel Alex Reed presented the tactical analysis. Holographic displays showed comparative combat capabilities between human forces and standard galactic military units. Our baseline troops can operate in conditions that would incapacitate most species' elite forces, Alex explained. This gives us significant tactical advantages in almost any environment. The alien delegation grew more concerned as they reviewed the data. Human soldiers could fight effectively in environments that would require other species to use fully automated systems or remote drones. But what about your heavy weapons? Asked the alien tactical advisor. Surely they require more stable conditions. Mark led them to the weapons testing range. They watched as human crews operated artillery systems in simulated toxic atmospheres, handled plasma weapons in extreme gravity conditions, and maintained complex equipment under conditions that should have made such work impossible. We believe in redundancy, Mark explained. Every system is designed to function even if environmental protection fails, because in our experience, it often does. The alien's next question was inevitable. And your space combat capabilities? The demonstration moved to the Space Warfare Simulation Center. Here, human pilots showed their ability to handle G-forces that would kill most species, while maintaining complex combat maneuvers. Our pilots can endure forces that would tear apart most organic beings, Alex explained. It's another adaptation from living on a high-gravity Deathworld. One of the alien observers finally asked the question they'd all been considering. How do we defend against such capabilities? Mark's response was diplomatic but clear. We prefer peaceful relations, but we believe in being prepared for any scenario. The implications were obvious. Human military forces could operate effectively in environments that would render most defensive systems useless. They could fight in conditions that would kill their opponents through exposure alone. There's one more thing, Mark added, leading them to a final demonstration area. We've learned that our standard combat endurance exceeds most species' expectations. They watched as troops performed continuous operations for periods that left the alien observers stunned. Where other species required regular rest cycles, humans could push through with minimal sleep for extended periods. Your soldiers, they volunteer for this? One observer asked, watching troops train in what appeared to be lethal conditions. They compete for it, Alex corrected. These positions are highly sought after. As the demonstration concluded, the alien delegation hurried to file their reports. Their conclusion was clear. Traditional military doctrine would need complete revision to account for human capabilities. Mark watched them leave, knowing the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity's military capabilities weren't just superior in some areas. They operated on a fundamentally different level of survivability and endurance. The universe wasn't just trembling anymore. It was realizing that humans weren't just survivors of a death world. They were its masters. The Galactic Trade Center buzzed with activity as Earth's diplomatic team prepared for another round of negotiations. Lead diplomat Michael Ross adjusted his simple suit, watching alien representatives scurry past in their environmental protection gear. "They still can't believe we breathe this air naturally," his assistant Dan remarked, organizing their presentation materials. Yesterday, 3 different species asked if our environmental suits were invisibly shielded. Michael chuckled, but his focus remained on the task ahead. Earth's delegation had spent months proving their worth to the galactic community, turning their Deathworld adaptations into diplomatic advantages. Today's agenda includes trade negotiations with the mining consortium, Michael announced to his team. "They're interested in our deep Earth extraction techniques." The meeting room was divided by various atmospheric barriers, but the human section remained open to the standard air mix. As Michael presented Earth's mining capabilities, the alien representatives watched in amazement. "Your workers operate directly in these conditions?" the consortium leader asked, viewing footage of human miners working deep underground, without comprehensive life support. "We use safety equipment, of course," Michael explained, "but our natural adaptations allow us to work in conditions that would require full automation for most species." The implications weren't lost on anyone. Human miners could access resources in environments too hostile for other species to operate in personally. It was just one of many advantages Earth's delegation had discovered. In another section of the Trade Center, Dr. Helen White was showcasing human medical advances. "Our healing capabilities evolved to match our harsh environment," she explained to a group of alien medical researchers. "What you consider traumatic injury, we often treat as minor wounds." The medical delegation was particularly interested in human cellular regeneration and stress adaptation. The ability to recover from injuries that would kill most species had massive implications for galactic medicine. "And these medications?" an alien physician asked, pointing to common human painkillers. "They don't kill you." "Some of us take them daily," Helen replied, causing several observers to back away from the display. Meanwhile, in the technology exchange sector, engineer Tom Baker demonstrated human construction techniques. "Our buildings withstand conditions that would destroy most structures," he explained, showing footage of cities surviving extreme weather. "But how do you maintain them?" asked a representative from a low-gravity world. "The stress forces alone. We've adapted our materials and methods to work with our environment, not against it," Tom replied. "Sometimes the harshest conditions inspire the best innovations." The diplomatic breakthrough came during what could have been a disaster. When the trade center's environmental systems malfunctioned, most species rushed to their emergency pods. The human delegation calmly continued working, even helping to repair the systems. "See," Michael told the astonished council members afterward, "we're not just surviving these conditions, we're thriving in them. Imagine what we could accomplish together." The incident changed the tone of negotiations. Other species began seeing human adaptations not as frightening, but as valuable. Trade agreements were drafted, joint ventures proposed, and cultural exchanges planned. "They're starting to understand," Dan observed, watching alien representatives eagerly discussing collaboration opportunities with the human team. "We're not just Deathworlders, we're problem solvers." Michael nodded, reviewing the day's agreements. Earth had secured unprecedented access to galactic markets, not through intimidation, but by demonstrating their unique capabilities. Their harsh world hadn't just made them strong. It had made them innovative, adaptable, and resilient. "Next week's schedule is full," Dan reported. 3 more species want to discuss joint mining operations. The Medical Council wants to study our cellular regeneration, and the Defense Coalition is interested in our environmental adaptation techniques. Michael smiled, watching alien and human representatives working together across the chamber. The initial fear of Earth's Class 14 status was being replaced by respect and curiosity. Humanity's greatest challenge, their deadly homeworld, had become their greatest diplomatic asset. As the day ended, Michael heard an alien delegate remark, "Perhaps we should have been studying Earth all along, not hiding from it." The galaxy was finally learning what humans had known for generations. Sometimes the hardest paths lead to the greatest achievements. 1 year after Earth's official integration into the galactic community, the changes were dramatic. The once feared Deathworlders had become invaluable allies, transforming galactic society in ways no one had predicted. At the Galactic Central Command, Admiral Thomas Gray reviewed the latest reports. Human training programs had revolutionized space exploration and defense. Species that once couldn't survive harsh environments were now thriving, thanks to human expertise. Another successful graduation, he noted, watching alien troops complete their first human-designed survival course. They're learning to push past their previous limitations. The training facility, built to Earth specifications, had initially terrified other species. Now there was a waiting list for admission. Civilizations across the galaxy wanted their people to learn human resilience. The Arcturus group completed their first deep space mission, his aide reported. Using human environmental adaptation techniques, they extended their operational range by 300%. But the most surprising development came from the Science Council. Dr. Emma Parker, leading a joint research team, had made a stunning discovery. Earth's classification as Class 14 was actually conservative. She announced to the assembled council, "Our latest measurements suggest we're approaching Class 12 conditions, and yet our civilization continues to advance." The news sent shockwaves through the galaxy. Instead of panicking, though, other species now looked to humanity with hope. If humans could not only survive but prosper in such conditions, perhaps they could teach others to do the same. In the diplomatic sector, Earth had become a major power broker. Species that once avoided contact now sought human mediation for their disputes. The very adaptations that made humans frightening also made them uniquely qualified to bridge seemingly impossible gaps between different civilizations. "They trust us because we understand struggle," explained Chief Diplomat John Walker. "Our history of overcoming hostile conditions gives us perspective that more protected species lack." The economic impact was equally profound. Human corporations, experienced in operating under extreme conditions, helped other species expand their operations into previously inaccessible regions. Earth's harsh environment had forced innovations that now benefited the entire galaxy. "Our mining techniques have opened up resources on worlds that were considered too dangerous to exploit," reported Marcus Stone, head of interstellar operations. "We're helping other species access their own Deathworld safely." But perhaps the most significant change was cultural. The galaxy's fear of Earth had transformed into fascination. Alien tourists now visited Earth's most extreme locations, carefully protected by human guides. What was once seen as a nightmare world had become an adventure destination. "They want to understand how we live," observed tour director Kelly Brooks. "Every challenge they face here teaches them something about themselves." In the Galactic Senate, Earth's representatives proposed new initiatives for dealing with environmental challenges across the galaxy. Their experience with adapting to harsh conditions proved invaluable as other worlds faced their own climate changes. "We're not just surviving anymore," announced President Wilson to the Senate. "We're helping the galaxy learn that adaptation is not just about endurance. It's about growth." The military implications had settled into a stable deterrent. No species wanted to challenge humans directly, but neither did they fear invasion. Earth's forces were more often deployed for rescue missions and disaster response than combat. "Our strength isn't in our weapons," Admiral Gray often said. "It's in our ability to help others survive what we've already mastered." As the first year of Earth's new status drew to a close, the Galactic Council convened a special session. The question before them was unprecedented. Should they revise the entire Deathworld classification system? "Earth has shown us that our understanding of survivability was too limited," the Council leader declared. "Perhaps it's time we stopped viewing harsh conditions as barriers and started seeing them as opportunities for growth." The motion passed unanimously. Earth's example had changed not just the present, but the future of galactic civilization. The universe had trembled when Earth's ranking skyrocketed to Class 14, but that trembling had transformed into a wave of progress that would ripple through the galaxy for generations to come. Humanity had not just found its place among the stars. They had helped the galaxy find a new way forward, proving that sometimes the harshest worlds produce the strongest allies.